Do you guys remember the film in 2005 directed by Ryan Johnson called Brick? Well, that film was phenomenal and was one of my brother's favorites and mine, and it probably still is to this day. But I'm talking about Netflix's new film, Brick, 2025. How many 20s was that? 2025. Let's jump in. A couple whose apartment building is suddenly surrounded by a mysterious brick wall must work with their neighbors to find a way out. On the surface, this film has a really interesting A to B plot. You're trapped in the building, there's this weird thing stopping you from getting out, and you need to figure out a way to get out because there are limited supplies, and it means eventually you're probably going to die if you don't figure a way out. We've seen films like this, escape room movies that are done better. We've also seen like the original great trap movie, Cube.
Motion detectors integrated into the walls. Tough to spot.
Which was an interesting movie where you had to use maths and the different skill sets of the people that you found in the same cube as yourself to figure out and trying to survive the various traps. And it feels like a big human experiment, a little bit like Squid Game. This has elements of that, but at the same time, we have a human element here that I think works to help elevate this film to slightly something that is more than your generic A to B, which would be fine if it was trying to lean into one genre. It has a little bit of an identity crisis because it doesn't really know which side it wants to fall on. Is it relationship drama dealing with past hurts and brokenness from our characters, or is it an escape weird sci-fi film? It's trying to be both of those, and it never really nails either of them. That's not to say I didn't enjoy my time with it. The mystery kept me guessing towards the end, and when we are revealed as it's to what has happened, I wasn't disappointed with the ending. I think it could have gone another way and it would have been a much darker ending, or probably the better ending. But for me, the ending that we did get, I was like, yeah, okay, that's fun. We have a number of actors here, but our two main protagonists is a husband and wife who have suffered a loss, and they're not really dealing with it. It's showcased at the beginning of the film as their relationship is a bit strained because of their loss. The most emotional moments that we get in this movie is when they're finally talking about their shit. It comes to the surface and they have this altercation, and it's acted and portrayed brilliantly. A nice 2-minute acting sequence that I think the actors would have really loved chewing up. There's emotion and tears, and it's just brought in a way that you're like, oh, it's awkward to listen to. It feels very real and raw. And I like that. When we get little emotional moments with some of the other actors as well, everybody is has a unique characteristic. There's a guy that is old, that has his granddaughter with him. He doesn't want to be that thing that the old guy that has to lean on his granddaughter. He's very much a man of the old school and wants to do things himself, even though he's on oxygen. You have a couple that is there just for like a B&B breakfast, a B&B, that have just come to this part of the building as a B&B. They're very much in love. They're taking some narcotics, enter the mix with them, and then you'll meet a couple of others that immediately not to trust. And I would say that would be a spoiler if you don't know immediately. You look at the person, they exude bad guy, MacGuffin power, or you just know that the writing's not going to be better than that. And unfortunately, you do guess everything that's going to happen in this movie. I imagine sitting around at the scripting table when they're getting ready to deliver this and greenlight this project. And the pitch is, hey guys, there's this whole building and everybody inside it is trapped and they can't get out, except they're going to work ways out to try and kind of figure it out. And so it's a massive escape room in a whole building contained, and put people in the mix of that, and that's going to be fun. And so on paper it sounds really interesting and that it quite works, but because the story is actually super light, it relies heavily on those characters. But then you have this pacing issue that every time it tries to do character development, it really kind of stops the flow of what's going on. Thankfully, it doesn't do that too much, and most of the time when we get character development, there is plot moving along, or search as part of how to escape this room. So it's not ever doing exposition and just stopping the pacing and the flow of it. So the film does continue to go with its mystery and how they're going to survive the next day and who they're going to meet along in the next room. That is all part of the mystery that is quite fun to watch. Have we seen better versions of this? Yes, absolutely. But I'm not sad that I watched this. I think the acting is fairly good. I think it flows fairly well. It takes something that we've known and tries to put two genres, never really reaches either of them. But there is fun to be had here, and I think for those that love sci-fi drama, you're going to enjoy this one. Whether you feel like it sticks the landing, I'm not sure. I'm going to go right down the middle with this one because I did enjoy my time with it as a one-time watch, but I don't think I'll be going back to it anytime soon. I'd much rather rewatch The Cube. If you haven't watched that, I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched The Brick from 2005, totally different film and story, just title's the same, but definitely check that out. I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching. Again, 2.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
I guess I was pretty horny.
Let me know your favorite trap movie where people have to escape. I think Cabin in the Woods might be one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I'd love to hear what you think. Obviously, the Saw movies are going to come up. There is some gore here, and some of it is pretty gnarly. There is a lot of language. There's a little bit of sexual stuff that they show, but you don't really see anything. It's about a 15 here in the UK, so not for young ones, but I think anybody in their teens and up will enjoy this. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.